सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुविष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः। देवाय तस्मै नमः। 6th chapter. We had to see the 6th shloka. अथ षष्ठोऽध्यायः ध्यानयोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्वैव शत्रुवत्। वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्।
The self is the friend of the self for him who has conquered himself by the self. But to the unconquered self, the self stands in the position of an enemy, like the external foe.
So, to attain moksha, the very preparation is more important. So, even after telling about the karma yoga, karma yoga and also the gnana yoga, Bhagavan again he is insisting on the control of the mind. So, it is more effort by the sadhak to keep his mind tranquil. That is the first and foremost thing he has to do. So here bandhuratmat manastasya enatmaivatmana jitaha. He has to keep his mind tranquil. How to keep this mind tranquil? It is through the buddhi, through the intellect. He has to control the mind. That means enough education and training has to be given to the intellect so that it will monitor the mind. Like the mind, usually takes us to a particular direction which really it wants to enjoy or indulge in. So whatever we like may not be good for us. Whatever we like and do, that is indulge, that may not be good. So for simple example, I like more of sweets. So eating more of sweets is not good for health. I mean, though capacity is more and I can eat enough, but later on the health will be affected. So what I like may not be good for me. But it is good to keep in control all these food habits. But I may not like that. What is good for me, I may not like. But what I like may not be good. So now we should choose something like whatever is good for me, I should start liking it. Then it is easy for the mind to be in tranquility. So here Bhagavan says the person who controls his mind with the help of intellect, is able to control his mind with the help of intellect, such a mind is his friend, or such a mind which is not in the control of the intellect is his enemy. One who cannot win the mind. See, we all try to correct somebody's mind. It's very easy. When my mind doesn't listen to me, how does somebody's mind will be able to listen to me? So it is listening to my mind or correcting my mind or holding my mind in my hands is in my control. But somebody's mind is not in my control. So Bhagavan says, keep your mind in control, not somebody's mind. We always look to control somebody's mind now here. So one who has educated himself, that means education is not the education, knowledge is not about the knowledge of the material outside or the general knowledge or the knowledge of something, cooking or something. No. Here the knowledge is about the self. So if the intellect is given the proper education, the knowledge of the self, and it is able to control the mind, so that mind itself is a friend. And if he is not able to control that mind, again control is not with lot of force and energy. No, it should happen with the understanding. So if he is not able to control his mind, that mind itself will be the Shatru. Anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat. So such a mind will be an enemy to him only, not for others, for him only. Continuing. Jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahitaha शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः.
The Supreme Self of him, who is self-controlled and peaceful, is balanced in cold and heat, pleasure and pain, as also in honor and dishonor.
So, Jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahitaha. Samahitaha. See. One who has won his mind with this intellect, he will be tranquil and he will be abiding in the self. So a person who is abiding in the self, see, what is winning the mind with the help of intellect? See, that is where we actually see about the Shraddha. See, like, I decide to attend this class, not miss this class at all. I decide. But the mind says, it's okay, even if I miss one class, what is there? I can look at the recording or something like that. If we are able to control that mind and say no, for no reason you are just refusing, you have to attend the class, that means mind is listening to me. It can happen to anybody, even for me. That's its mind is mind, not my mind or your mind or anything. How the mind acts is like that. So if the mind says no, I don't want to attend, I want to sleep, I want to watch some movie or serial, okay, why should I do that? That means I am listening to the mind. Mind is not listening my words, I am listening to my mind. So every time if the mind is listening to me, that means I have won over the mind. That is what Bhagavan says here. Jitatmana means he has won over the mind. That means mind is listening to him. He is not allowing the mind to go the way it wants. And he is not going according to the mind. Such a person who has won the mind with the intellect, he will be abiding in the self. That means more controlled. His mind is tranquil, he is peaceful, he is able to concentrate immediately. Such will be the state of his mind. So how he will be शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः समाहितः. So at the body level, Shita Ushna, cold and heat. Nowadays, I mean, it was little warm few days ago. Now it is little cool. So whereas you go to Himalayas and all, it will be very chill. These sadhus and all, if you see there, they will be wearing one orange cloth, that's all. Even at 0 degrees, like, it will be snowing, everything, they'll be just wearing. If you see our Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda's Guru, Tapovan Maharaj's photo, in all the photo he is one simple gown of orange. All the seasons. So a person who is abiding in this self, Shita Ushna, that means at the body level, whether it is too hot or too cold, he is able to bear that. It doesn't mean that he is not experiencing hot, heat or cold. What, he has become numb or something. No. He will be experiencing both heat and cold. But he will not make a big issue of that. If we have observed our friends also, you might see, it is hot. So you just think of people staying at Rajasthan. There so much of heat is there. Compared to them, our temperature at Bangalore is much lower, isn't it? So they say, no, I can't stay without an AC, I can't stay without a fan, how can I live, how are you living? No, we can live. There are so many people living in the same place without fan, without shelter, we can also stay like that. So a person who is abiding in this self is able to take this heat and cold at the body level in an equal manner. That means he's not making a scene out of it, that's all. He is able to bear both heat and cold at the body level. Shita Ushna. And Sukha Dukkha is at the mind level. Mind is the bed of emotions and feelings. That is where we experience all those things. He can take Sukha and Dukkha in an equal way. What does it mean? He doesn't experience anything when he is having Sukha. Is he not happy? When he is having Dukkha, is he not sorrowful? No. He experiences both. But for a Gnani, the time, just as Sir was telling, FIR, frequency, intensity and reversible time. So that is very less. He also feels very happy, but he will not be carried away by that happiness. He comes back to his tranquil mind. Just like that, he also experienced dukkha in this world, because for a Gnani and a Agnani, the world is same. The world is not different. Only the vision has changed of a Gnani, that's all. So when he experiences this dukkha also, he comes back to the normalcy very fast. So sukha and dukkha at the mental level. At the intellectual level, it is mana apamana. Mana apamana is respect and disrespect. See, there are some people who respect people so much, they'll make them God, they build temples and all. In Tamil Nadu we can see temples for film stars and all those things. They worship them like anything. At the same time, they may disrespect also. Why somebody else? We ourselves can see. We have some friends who will be appreciating us so much, and at some time they may also disrespect us. Same person. He himself can give us respect, he himself may not give respect. Because mind is something that changes constantly. It keeps changing. Sometimes even we today might respect somebody and tomorrow we may say no. Some aspects come, like thoughts come at particular situation, no, they are not doing good, no, I can't respect them for some reason. So this mana and apamana, a person who is abiding in the self, he doesn't bother whether you give him respect or don't give him respect. So, yeah, in Chinmaya Mission also we have some great people working in very good positions and all, who are the trustees in the Chinmaya Mission also. We see them how beautifully they are really very good in their positions also, and they are so humble when they come to Swamiji also. Sometimes it so happens when they come on time, they are invited and made them sit on the stage and garlanding, everything happens. It so happened once he was very late because of some traffic jam or something, and the session was going on. Swamiji was already talking. Without making any noise, he took a back seat and just sat there. The person who would be respected and honored brought on the stage and made to sit. He did not bother when he was late also. He just sat at a back seat and just listened to the talk, and later on he said this was the problem, so I could not be on time, humbly. So a person who is abiding in the self will not worry about people respecting him or disrespecting him. Mana, apamana. So everything he will take samahitaha. That means balanced. So at the body level it is heat and cold. At the mental level it is, at the mind level it is sukha and dukkha, happiness and sorrow. And at the intellectual level it is respect and disrespect, or mana, apamana. Everything he will take at a very balanced stage. Who? The one who abides in the self and his mind is controlled by the intellect. Continuing. Jnana vijnana triptatma kutasto vijitendriyaha yukta ityuchyate yogi samaloštashma kanchana.
A yogi who is satisfied with knowledge and wisdom, who remains unshaken, who has conquered the senses, to whom a lump of earth, a stone, and gold are the same, is said to be harmonized. That is, is said to have attained nirvikalpa samadhi.
Samaloštashma kanchana. Gnani. Gnani means again here one who has the knowledge of the self, not the general knowledge, not the knowledge of the politics, not the geographical knowledge, or the knowledge of the Puranas and all that. Who is Rama, who is Ravana, Mahabharata, where did it take place? Not such knowledge. It is the knowledge of the self. Whenever Gnana is told, knowledge is told here, it is the knowledge of the self. So, with all the experiences, he is satisfied and he is Jitendriya, Vijitendriya. Jitendriya means he is controlling all his sense organs. All the Indriyas are very well controlled by him. He is called as a yogi. He is a yogi, he is a gnani. And for him, Samaloštashma Kanchanaha. Kanchana is gold coins, Bangara, gold coins. Samaloštashma Kanchanaha. So whether it is a stone or gold, it is the same for him. Because he doesn't value that so much. That means, it doesn't mean that he doesn't know the value of that. He doesn't give value for that. That's all. He doesn't need that. He doesn't need that for his, because he is already abiding in the self and satisfied. He doesn't need any more money. So usually they tell one story for this. Husband and wife will be walking in a desert. Husband will be walking ahead and wife will be following him. So when they will be just walking and they'll be tired and they'll be wanting to sit under some tree, at that time, under the tree, when this man walks, he sees a gold coin. Thinking that his wife might like that coin and fall prey to that. With his feet, he will just spill some mud over that gold coin so that when she walks that way, she will not be able to see that gold coin. Okay, he will just walk further, and this lady also will walk on the same path, and both will sit under a tree. Then this husband will feel surprised. Okay, I covered that gold coin with the mud. Hope she did not see that and she didn't take that. That's the reason she might not have picked. This lady is also a gnani. She says, why did you cover one mud with the other mud? She has seen this. She has seen this person cover this gold coin with the mud. So she is asking him, why did you cover one mud with other mud? That means for her also, gold is not gold, it is mud. Samaloshthashma kanchanaha. They don't fall prey for this. Usually, these are the things which we fall prey or lose our values for the things like, gold or property or all such things, But here, one who is a gnani, he will never differentiate between a stone and also gold. That means, for him, it is the same value. Gurudev Chinmayananji actually had Raja Yoga, I'll tell you. Everyone, would give him silk dhoti and panche or shalya, whatever he would wear, shalya like this would be of silk. And his japamala, rudraksha would be in gold string. So everybody would say, Swamiji, you say about Vairagya and all, you are wearing, your rudraksha is in gold. Immediately he would take and give away. Okay. Next minute somebody would give him, bring and give it to him. He did not want that. But people give it to him. He had Raja Yoga. Anything. He would just remove, somebody would give a Rudrakshi or a Spatika Mala. He would just remove and give it to somebody. Next minute somebody would give. It was like that. But he had no, and he had a gold strapped watch also. Now somebody would say, you are wearing gold and all. He would remove and give it. Next minute somebody would bring same gold thing for him. That means he didn't care for all that. Samaloshthashma kanchanaha. He didn't want all that. But people would give it to him. But in his vision, it was not like, an addition to his property or a deletion to his property. Because he was abiding in the self. He had grown above all these things. So, a gnani who is abiding in the self, samaloshthashma kanchanaha. He will be seeing both. That means he is not disrespecting the money or gold there, but the value given to that is only that much. He is not interested in that. This is about the material things, what he sees. Next shloka tells us about the relationship of the people, how he looks at them. Surun mitraryudasina madhyastadveshya bandhushu sadhushvapi cha papishu samabuddhir vishishyate.
He who is of the same mind to the good-hearted friends, relatives, enemies, the indifferent, the neutral, the hateful, the righteous and the unrighteous excels.
See, this was the previous shloka we saw about the material things. Now, in the relationship, how does he treat people here? Surun mitraryudasina. Surudaya means a person who is having very good hearted. With him, how will a gnani be? He'll be good with him. And then mitra. Mitra is friend. With a good hearted person, with a friend and with an enemy. And a person doesn't care for him, udasina. That means, what is udasina? Udasina is you're not giving importance. See, you can love or hate somebody. You can love them or hate them. But udasina is neglecting them. You don't care about them at all. That is udasina. So my grandmother would always say, one who is egoistic, no, you should, for how you should treat a egoistic person means you be udas. That means don't give importance to me or him or neglect him. Ahankarake udasinave madhu. That was the saying in Kannada she used to say. Ahankarake udasinave madhu. Just neglect. That's all. So here, one who is good-hearted, a friend, an enemy, or a udasina, that means who is neglecting him, or madhyastha, a middleman, one who says, middleman is the person, one who carries the talk spoken here to that person, and whatever is told there is told here. This is called as a middleman. He'll be just exchanging the thoughts. He told about you like this. That is the madhyastha. And dveshi, one who hates him. And then it is bandhushu. Bandhushu is the relatives, among the relatives. And then sadhushvapi, cha papeshu. A papi, a sinner, or a sadhu, a saint or a sadhu. He will be with balanced mind, tranquil. Whether he is a good-hearted friend or an enemy, a saint or a sinner, this gnani will be at tranquility. He will be at samabuddhi, meaning he will treat them all in the same way, because he will be seeing the divine in them and not the external behavior. He will be seeing the divine in them. That is why samabuddhir vishishyate. That's why a gnani is great. Usually our way of living is, if he is a friend and he is good, we are good to him. If he is not good to him, we are not good to him. If he speaks loudly to us, we also raise our voice. Natural human tendency it is. But when we come to sadhana, Swamiji always says, what is great in being good to people who are good to you? You should be good to people, good to such people who are not good to you also, who are not behaving in a very appreciating manner towards you. So there is nothing great being, because he is good, I am good. There is nothing great. He is speaking nice to me, I am speaking nice to him. She is very good to me, that's why I am also good. What is the big deal there? Nothing. If they are not good to us, still I continue to be good to them. That is the sadhana. And that Agnani can do. He abides in the self. So, Nirashira Parigraha. Samabuddhir Vishishyate. So, he is always abiding in the self, and Samabuddhi is always having the same attitude. He works in the same way. So for all these things, acting seen towards being good to everybody or treating everybody in this way, they always give us the example like, the sun rays fall on everyone else equally. Sun rays never think that, no, this person is not good, this person is good, why should I give sunlight to him, why should I give sunlight to her? It never thinks. You go and stand under a tree, it gives equal shade to all of them, whether he is a papi or a good person, whether it is an animal or anything. It gives the same shade to all the animals or the human beings who go under the shelter, to take the shelter under the tree. So that is the way that we should treat people equally. Swamiji would give us the example. See, a tree never does like that, or a sun never does like that. So we should raise to that standard. So we should be able to see everyone in a good way, that is loving way. Only such person will be very great. To go to that state, what should we do is the next shloka. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi stitaha ekakiyat chittatma nirashira parigraha.
Let the yogi try constantly to keep the mind steady, remaining in solitude, alone, with the mind and body controlled, free from hope and greed.
So how to keep this mind? Here the Gnani is already keeping his mind tranquil, using his intellect. But how? It should be kept under that state, in that state. Okay, today with all the efforts we have read Bhagavad Gita, okay, my mind is under control, I am fine today. Tomorrow morning, if I say yesterday I had control and today it's okay, let me just stay like that, mind will go somewhere. So everyday practice, how should it be practiced? Yogi yunjita satatam. Satatam. See, satatam is always. Atmanam rahasi stitaha. So he should always practice in keeping the mind under his control only. Satatam. So how to practice? In the beginning, if we try to control in the present situation, like going to the world outside, I'll see everything, still I will keep my mind under my control. It's not possible. I should practice that. To practice that, the best way is withdraw yourself from everything. We should withdraw ourselves from everything, keep ourselves in isolation or stay alone and practice this. Practice what? Keeping the mind under control, not getting disturbed. So once we start practicing, then after that, when we come out also, we will be able to keep our mind tranquil in any situation. So yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasit sthiti. Practice every day of what? Keeping the mind tranquil. So by himself he should keep all the. For that, first thing is keep the indriyas. Ekaki yata chittatma nirashira parigraha. Nirashira parigraha means nirashir. He is not depending on any of the fruits by his karma done by the panchendriyas. Nirashir. So he is keeping all his sense organs under his control, so that whatever results they bring when he does the karma, he is not dependent upon them. Nirashir, he is not depending. Nirashir means he is not depending on that. Parigraha means he has given up everything. So he is keeping all the sense organs under control and all his mind under control, and then all the desires are under his control. He has to control himself. So in the beginning we have to isolate or stay away from the crowd or spend some time on ourselves and then try to work on the mind. This is called as working on the mind. When the mind is externally oriented and it is working with so many things outside, we are not so well trained to keep the mind under our control even in that situation when it is running outside or dealing with things outside. So we have to practice this. That is why here it is told yogi yunjita satatam. He has to practice this always to keep the mind in tranquility. So for that they say you be alone and then try to keep your mind under tranquility. So that is how the practice starts. So from the next shloka, Bhagavan says how to meditate. this meditation nowadays, it is, many people speak of meditation without giving any Vedanta or anything. You might have heard about the meditation classes or something like that. It has become a style, not a lifestyle, it's a style. Okay. Even I am attending meditation classes. You ask somebody, yes, I am also attending spiritual classes. It is like, something adding to your personality. No, these things are not something that add. I am also attending yoga classes. I am also doing yoga. No, these things are not like, it is an addition to like, I'm learning music, I am learning dance. It's not like that. This is something to refine myself. So there are so many meditation techniques, so many of them teach meditation. Here Bhagavan gives us the how we should meditate. See, to start meditation itself, this was the preparation. What? Karma yoga, we did upasana, and then we are still time and again he is telling how to keep our mind under our control, keep the sense organs under our control. After doing all these things, then we can sit to meditate. Controlling the sense organs means sitting still without moving hours together. People sit at least for 1 hour. I should be able to sit like that, sit in a position like that. So for all that, mental, intellectual, physical, all this support is needed. So once the mind is tranquil and the sense organs are in the control, then what we should do to meditate, Bhagavan says from the next shloka. How are we going to meditate? Okay, we will see what he explains. Shuchau deshe pratishthapya sthiramasanamatmanaha natyuchritam natinicam chailajina kushottaram.
Having in a clean spot established a firm seat of his own, neither too high nor too low, made of a cloth, a skin, and cushion grass, one over the other.
Yes. How should he sit? First thing. In the previous shloka, he has told, be alone, ekanta. Satatam, he has to. So, sit in a place which is clean. Even in the house, if we are going to meditate, choose a room which doesn't have too many things, or too many things are not near you. It is like, you stretch your hands, you will be touching your books, or here there will be a chair. No, that should not be that. Better is puja room, a nice place to sit, which is clean. Shuchau deshe pratishtapya sthiramasana atmanaha. Here actually the asan to sit, they have told as Krishna Jina, that is skin of the deer. They say you spread some grass, on that you put this Krishna Jina and then put some cloth on that and sit, they say. If we think of Krishna Jina and all, people from prevention of cruelty to animals will come. We can't kill any deer now, and it is not available also. Maybe in those days it was easily available for the rishis who would stay in the forest, and they used it for the reason that these other ants and some insects which will be on the floor, ground, will not actually come on those skin. That is the reason they would use the skin to sit and all, and it was easily available, or skin of the dead animals. But for us, we have to sit in a clean place. We can use a little thick carpet or something, not that which is not too soft or too hard. Comfortably sit for 1 hour. So We should be able to sit comfortably for 1 hour at least. So in this Shuchau Deshe, clean place, put a cloth, a little bigger one. It should not be too small also. The asana should not be so small that your legs, feet and everything will be going out of the asana. No, no, no. It should be in such a way that when you squat, the legs should be within the asana there. So we are supposed to take such a asana. So sit there on that. It should not be at a very great height. Great height in the sense, there is a table or something and you're putting the asana on the table and sitting there. Why do not sit on the top? Maybe we will have a fear that I will fall down. Not sitting very low, like some of them have their underground rooms and all. Don't sit there where it is dark, it is not aerated and all. No. Sit in a place, nice place where there is good air, sufficiently clean. Put this asana and then sit. Natyuchitam nati nicham chailajina kushottaram. Sit in such a place comfortably with this carpet, folded carpet. Usually we use that folded carpet, which is not too soft or too hard, and it should be better on the floor. If you can't sit on the floor, if there is a small stool or something which is not too high, on that we can make our asana and sit. And it is told that our asana should be used by us only. It is not that anybody comes, take the asana, puts it there, sits and does. No, no, no. Asana should belong to them only, so that it will be clean. That's what it is said. Shuchau deshe pratishtapya sthiramasana matmanaha. Sthiramasana, why they say is, if we are sitting, I have some problem, I can't sit on the floor if you think, and if I'm sitting on just a stool or an asana which is just half a feet above the ground, that should not be shaking like. It should be still. Of course, if you sit on the floor, there is nothing like that. It will be fine. If not possible, now we have to go to the chair, that's all. Sit on the chair. Shuchau deshe pratishtapya sthiramasana atmanaha nachutticham nati nicham chailajina kushottaram. So these are the things. Sit in a place where it is still, not shaking. It should not be very high or very low, and it should be comfortable. So the asana should be not very hard or not very soft. So such should be the asana. We have to make it for ourselves. Then what should you do? Sit on that now. Then what should we do? Tatraikagram mana kritva yadachitendriya upavishyasane yunjat yogamatma vishuddhaye.
There, having made the mind one-pointed with the actions of the mind and the sense control, let him, seated on the seat, practice yoga for the purification of the self.
So now we have made a nice, beautiful asana. We are sitting on that. Squat. If you are able to make Padmasana, that is also fine. But usually they say Sukhasana is best. That is just squat and sit on that. What should I do? I should control my mind. Tatraikagram mana kritva. Control the mind. Yata chittendriya kriyaha. See, it is easy to close the eyes and think that I am not seeing anything. But other indriyas are active. I am able to hear something, I am able to smell something, I am able to touch something, mosquito, something is biting me. That sparsha is there. So I have to control all the 5 sense organs, create an atmosphere in such a way that nothing disturbs me. And then Chitta ekagrata, that is called as mind, has to be brought to concentration. After bringing the mind to tranquility, Upavishyasane Yunjyat Yogamatma Vishuddhaye. What should we practice for the Antakarana Shuddhi? Antakarana Shuddhi is what? Again, when I am sitting in the seat for meditation, I have withdrawn all the sense organs. They are still now. And the mind also is still. It is concentrated. I should see that no thoughts. Antakarana Shuddhi is the same thing. No thoughts should come out. No thoughts in the sense, we can't stop the mind by thinking. So when we say it should concentrate, we will give it a Nama Japa or something. So that Nama Japa will be consistently going on. Other thoughts should not come. When we start doing the Nama Japa like Om Namah Shivaya or Om Namo Narayanaya, 2 times, 3 times, 10 times, 25 times, 50 times, after that mind goes, it starts thinking of somebody. So that is the disturbance we get. So here when we sit for meditation, and then that Chitta Ekagrata should be there. The mind should be tranquil. That we have to practice. Now sitting in the Sukhasana, I have controlled my Indriyas and the mind also is ready now. And the Antakarana Shuddhi. See, when I sit for a meditation, it is very essential to bring a relation with the God, me and God. So that is why this Nama Japa is taken, and I'll be thinking only of the God, Bhagavan. Then what should I do? Continuing. How should be my posture is the next shloka. Samam kaya shiro grivam dharayannachalam stiraha samprekshanasikaagram swam deshaschanavalokayan.
Let him firmly hold his body, head and neck erect and still, gazing at the tip of his nose without looking around.
So I am sitting now and the mind is also controlled and I have withdrawn my Indriyas also. How should be my posture? It is telling Samam Kaya Shiro Grivam. That means the body should be erect, the head and the neck should be erect, that is in line with the spinal cord. The back should be erect. Samam Kaya Shiro Grivam. That is the body, the head and the neck should be straight. It will be straight when I am lying down also. No, not in that posture. Sitting in Sukhasana, this should be erect and it should be still. Never move it like this or anything. Never move it. And even your eyes should not be looking anywhere. Now, okay, my body is all right. I am looking somewhere. No. So that's why they say, look at the tip of your nose. That's what is told. Sampreksha nasikagram swam. Look at the tip of your nose. Why do they say to look at the tip of the nose? There are many methods. In the previous chapter, we said we should look between the eyebrows, if you remember. Bruhor Madhye, it was told. Now he is telling, look at the tip of the nose. Looking at the tip of the nose is, some people feel they get frightened when they close their eyes. And if we open our eyes, no meditation is possible because we will be looking at something else. So it is better half closed. When we look at the tip of the nose, we are not totally closing our eyes or opening our eyes. So that is how Bhagavan says, look at the tip of the nose. Vyasa Maharshi says. So now we are sitting straight, erect on the Sthira Asana and looking at the tip of the nose. Then what we should do is the next shloka. प्रशान्तात्मा विगतभिः ब्रह्मचार्यव्रते स्थितः मनः संयम्य मच्चित्तः युक्त आसीत मत्परः.
Serene-minded, fearless, firm in the vow of brahmacharya, having controlled the mind, thinking on me and balanced, let him sit, having me as the supreme goal.
Now again, the mind is tranquil, but now what should be the quality of that it is telling? Prashanta. Prashanta is tranquil. Vigatabihi brahmacharya vrate stitaha. It should be fearless. One of my aunt would go to meditation, so she would say, hey, if I go there, I can't sit down. They give me a chair and I sit on the chair and they ask me to close my eyes. I feel frightened. How can you just close your eyes and sit when so many people are there? That too on a chair. I would be so afraid that I might fall down. All those things she would get. Of course, she was at the age of 65, 70. Here Bhagavan says, you are sitting there, be fearless. Fearless how? I am with my God there. So, mind is tranquil and it is fearless. Brahmacharya vrata. Brahmacharya vrata means, it doesn't mean that we have to give up everything and go and sit there. No. At that point of time, I will sit there as a sadhak. I will not say I am his wife, I am his mother, or I am his father, or no such relations. Brahmacharya means there is no relationship now which I am carrying. It is me and my Bhagavan, only that. That should be the thought there. That is Brahmacharya Vrata. And when in that condition I will be having my mind under control, with the mind and intellect in manaha sanyamya machittaha. Sanyamya is controlled mind and intellect. I should do the dhyana of Bhagavan, nama japa of Bhagavan. Then we can transcend the mind. This is still only preparation for meditation, that's all. We are still not meditating. It's only preparation for meditation. We are sitting there with the erect body and now the mind is starting the nama japa, that is thinking of the Lord. One last shloka I will just take. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyatamaanasaha shantim nirvana paramam matsamstam adhigacchati.
Thus, always keeping the mind balanced, the yogi, with his mind controlled, attains the peace abiding in me, which culminates in total liberation, nirvana or moksha.
Yes. So like this, the mind has to be controlled and he has to meditate. Meditate upon what? Upon the self. Meditate upon the self. Meditating upon the self is like meditating the nirguna, God in the nirguna form. See, if we say all-pervading Brahma, that is Atma Tattva. And if we give the name of Ishvara, then he has a form. Brahma and Ishvara are not different. So when we give a form, there also I will not be worshipping something like the stone. If there is a statue of Shiva or Krishna, I will not be worshipping the statue there. I am thinking that God is there, Ishvara is there, Krishna is there, and I will be meditating on that Krishna and on that Ishvara. So, without all that, when I close my eyes, I can do the dhyana on all-pervading God. So, such a person, yunjannevam sadatmanam, keeping the mind under his control, and who has started doing the nama japa, and finally even the japa will stop and he will go beyond that japa and he will be abiding in the self. That means he'll be transcending the mind and intellect, and he will be abiding in the self. So that at that time he will be getting this Parama Shantim, or the Nirvana Paramam, that is the Nirvana state. So that he will be achieved. He will get that with all this preparation, sitting and doing this Nama Japa, and then he will transcend. That is the Parama Shanti, that is the Parama Sukha, that will be the experience of the Gnani. Okay, we'll stop there. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet, asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.